I never imagined that pressing a panic button would trigger chaos across the neighborhood and end with criminal charges against our HOA president. But that's exactly what happened the day Karen Whitfield decided she had the right to break into my home with a fake master key. I was miles away, engaged in a remote meeting with overseas clients, while my 12-year-old son Leo stood inside, calmly watching the whole thing unfold. What Karen didn't know was that every move she made was being recorded, and those recordings would be her downfall. I'm Marcus Chen, a single dad and software engineer. I moved to Willowbrook Estates looking for peace, safety, and a fresh start. 3 months ago, Leo and I left our cramped apartment behind and settled into this gated community, lined with picture-perfect homes and neatly trimmed lawns. I thought we were stepping into a friendly suburban paradise. Instead, we walked straight into the dictatorship of Karen Whitfield, a woman who mistook her volunteer HOA position for absolute authority. Karen introduced herself within hours of our arrival, clipboard in hand, disapproving glance aimed at our moving boxes. She muttered vague warnings about community standards. At first, I chalked it up to suburban nitpicking until she saw Leo walking home from the bus stop alone one day. As I was unloading groceries, she marched up to my driveway and, with her signature fake, concerned voice, said, "Single fathers often have trouble with child supervision. Maybe you should look into after-school care." I calmly explained that Leo was 12, responsible, and I worked remotely while monitoring him with our home smart system. She gave a tight smile that didn't reach her eyes and walked off, but I had a feeling this wasn't the end. Days later, she returned, claiming the HOA had a rule that no child under 16 could be home alone. I asked to see the bylaw. She said it was under revision. Of course, no document ever showed up. But what did start appearing was Karen herself daily, around 3:45 p.m. Her silver SUV would either slowly cruise past our home or park right across the street. It creeped Leo out so much he once asked, "Is she trying to kidnap me?" We began logging everything: timestamps, photos, even clips from our doorbell cam. But none of it prepared us for what happened that Tuesday in October. I was in the middle of a critical Zoom call with Japanese clients when alerts flooded my phone. Door sensor triggered, motion detected, failed key attempt. Then came Karen's voice over our intercom, demanding Leo open the door. I went from confused to panicked in seconds. Through our camera feed, I saw her trying to force a key into our front door, yelling that she was doing a welfare check. As HOA president, Leo kept his cool. He activated our home's emergency lockdown system, something I'd installed right after moving in. It sealed all entrances, triggered full recording, and notified me instantly. Then Leo called. "Dad, that Karen lady is trying to break in. She has some key, but it's not working. You did the right thing." I told him, "Stay inside, I'm handling this." Over the speaker, I told Karen she was trespassing and needed to leave immediately. That's when she made her worst mistake. She called 911. She claimed a child had been left alone and was in danger. When I called the dispatcher to clarify, they told me officers were already en route. I ended my meeting and sped home. The 15-minute drive felt like an hour. By the time I arrived, 2 police cars were already parked in front of my house. Officers Martinez and Thompson stood on the porch while Karen paced, waving her phone and ranting about child neglect. Leo calmly addressed them through the Ring camera, saying he was fine, doing homework, and didn't want to open the door to a stranger. Karen pointed at me as I stepped out. "That's the father. He left his child alone." Officer Martinez looked at me and asked, "Sir, can we hear your side?" "Absolutely," I said, unlocking the door with my real key. Karen's master key hung useless in her hand. Inside, Leo sat at the kitchen table working on homework. He even gave the officers a friendly wave. They checked that he had food, water, and a way to contact me. Then I showed them the footage: Karen forcing the key, yelling, calling 911 under false pretenses. When Officer Thompson asked where the key came from, her explanation unraveled. "It's from a maintenance visit. For emergencies, she muttered. You made a copy of a homeowner's key without permission? He asked. It's HOA policy, she claimed. Then show us the policy, Officer Martinez said. She couldn't. That's when I handed over a file, screenshots, timestamps, even statements from neighbors like Mrs. Rodriguez, who had filmed Karen sitting in her car watching our house. The officers questioned Karen further. Terms like false report, trespassing, and unlawful entry came up. Her face turned pale. By then, neighbors had started gathering, pretending to check mail while filming with their phones. I knew the video would be on Facebook by sundown. When asked again about the policy that supposedly allowed her entry, she mumbled that it was at her house. No HOA document overrides state law. Officer Thompson said firmly, Ma'am, you're being cited for unlawful attempted entry and making a false emergency report. Karen gasped. You can't do this, I'm the president. It doesn't matter. Officer Martinez said, writing the citation, I told them I'd be pressing charges and that my attorney would be in touch. Karen looked like the wind had been knocked out of her. At the next HOA meeting, the room was packed. My lawyer, Jacob Morrison, who specializes in HOA abuse cases, presented everything in a composed, thorough manner. Karen sat at the head table, stone-faced, while board members grew increasingly silent. Jacob exposed everything: the unauthorized key, the mental distress caused to Leo, the wasted emergency resources. He requested a full audit of all keys. That's when Tom Bradley, the treasurer, admitted Karen never had board approval. Sarah Kim, the secretary, pulled meeting minutes showing Karen's motion for access rights had been voted down. The board voted unanimously to remove her. Even her allies turned on her. Karen stood abruptly. You'll regret this. Without me, this place will fall apart. She stormed out to awkward silence, but it didn't end there. Karen was fined $5,000 for filing a false report. The key duplication resulted in misdemeanor charges. Her real estate license was suspended, pending investigation. I filed a civil suit for harassment and emotional damages and won. She was ordered to pay $15,000 and banned from holding any HOA position again. A court-ordered restraining order now prevents her from coming within 100 feet of our property. At her sentencing, I watched her stand before the judge, no longer a feared HOA tyrant, but a broken woman. When the bailiff read her probation terms, she finally broke down. The same woman who ruled the neighborhood with fake authority was now just a warning to others. And it all started because my 12-year-old son knew when to press the panic button. If you believe that no one, not even an HOA president, should have a master key to your house, hit that like button. And if you want more stories where hungry people get put in their place, don't forget to subscribe. You won't want to miss what's coming next.